He tried to pull away, but Rachel's hands held him firmly in place. "Just relax, Junior," she said with a soft, coaxing tone. "I'm only trying to help you." "Stepmom, what are you doing?" Junior asked nervously, his voice barely a whisper. "Don't worry, sweetheart," she said with a smile that didn't feel comforting. "You're going to like this, I promise. Just promise me you won't tell your dad, okay?" Junior hesitated, his chest tight with a mix of fear and confusion. "I won't," he finally replied, his voice trembling as he avoided her gaze. The words felt heavy as they left his mouth, and Junior couldn't shake the feeling that something was very, very wrong. Junior sat at the edge of his bed, clutching his favorite stuffed lion, Maximum. The room felt quieter than usual, though the faint hum of the television echoed down the hallway. At 8 years old, Junior often found comfort in familiar routines, but lately, things in his home had been anything but familiar. His parents had divorced 2 years ago. Junior didn't fully understand why. All he knew was that his mom no longer lived with them, and his dad had married Rachel, his new stepmom, soon after. He missed his mom terribly, though he didn't get to see her much anymore. She'd moved far away, leaving Junior to adjust to life with his dad and Rachel. Junior loved his dad. He was the kind of dad who remembered to pack his favorite snacks for school and always tucked him in at night with a funny story. But Rachel was different. She wasn't mean, she smiled a lot and even called him sweetheart sometimes, but there was something about her that made Junior uneasy. Rachel was always around, always hovering. She'd fuss over his hair, straighten his clothes, and hold his hand a little too long. At first, Junior thought she was just trying to be nice, but lately, her attention felt suffocating. It wasn't like the way his mom used to hug him or ruffle his hair. It felt different. In the evenings, Junior often found himself retreating to his room, pretending to do homework just to avoid her watchful eyes. He wondered if other kids felt this way about their stepmoms. He thought about asking his dad, but his dad always seemed busy, either working late or focusing on Rachel. One evening, while Junior was taking a bath, Rachel's voice rang out from the other side of the bathroom door. "Junior, sweetheart, do you need help washing your back?" "No, I'm okay." Junior called out, hoping she'd go away. The door creaked open anyway. Rachel stepped in, holding a towel and a bottle of shampoo. "Don't be shy," she said with a smile. "I'll help you. It's faster this way." Junior shrank into the water, his face turning red. "I can do it myself," he mumbled. But Rachel didn't listen. She knelt by the tub and began scrubbing his back with the soapy cloth. Junior felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He tried to move away, but her grip was firm. "Relax, Junior," she said gently. "I'm just trying to help." Junior's mind raced. He wanted to tell her to stop, but the words wouldn't come out. Instead, he stared at the water, willing the bath to be over. When she finally stood up and left the room, Junior sank into the tub, his heart pounding. That night, as he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Junior felt more confused than ever. Was it normal for stepmoms to act like this? He wasn't sure, but something deep inside told him that it wasn't right. The next morning, Junior sat at the breakfast table, poking at his cereal with a spoon. The milk swirled lazily around the colorful loops, but he didn't feel hungry. His dad, dressed in a crisp shirt and tie, scrolled through his phone, occasionally sipping his coffee. Rachel hummed cheerfully as she moved around the kitchen, tidying up and packing his dad's lunch. Junior's thoughts were a storm of emotions. He couldn't stop replaying last night in his head, the bath, the way Rachel held him tightly, the strange way she spoke to him. Was it wrong? He didn't know. She always smiled and called him sweet names, and his dad seemed to like her a lot. Maybe he was overthinking it. "Everything okay, buddy?" his dad asked, glancing up from his phone. Junior hesitated, his spoon frozen midair. He wanted to tell him, to say something about how weird Rachel had been acting, but the words got stuck in his throat. What if his dad didn't believe him? I'm fine, Junior mumbled, dropping his gaze to his bowl. His dad nodded absently, already back to scrolling. Good. Don't forget we're shopping for new clothes after school today. You're growing out of everything. Junior forced a smile, hoping it hid the knot in his stomach. That afternoon, Junior and his dad strolled through the mall. For a moment, Junior felt like everything was normal again. They laughed as they picked out shirts and sneakers, and his dad even let him get a hat he'd been eyeing for weeks. But the sense of relief didn't last long. When they got home, Rachel greeted them with her usual bright smile. Look at you two. Did you have fun? Yeah, Junior said quietly, clutching the shopping bag. What did you get? Rachel asked, peering into the bag. Before Junior could answer, she pulled out the new shirt he'd picked, a bold red one with a cool superhero logo on the front. This is cute, she said, holding it up against herself. I think it might even fit me. Junior frowned as she slipped it over her head and twirled in front of the mirror. What do you think? Does it look good on me? It's mine, stepmom, Junior said hesitantly. Oh, don't be silly, Rachel said with a laugh. We can share, right? You don't mind? Junior didn't respond. He just watched her admire herself in his new shirt, his unease growing stronger. That night, Junior lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The shadows from the streetlight outside danced across the walls, but he barely noticed. His mind was racing again. Why had Rachel taken his shirt? Why didn't she listen when he said it was his? And why did she act like it was normal for her to bathe him or touch him the way she did? He hugged Max, his stuffed lion, tighter. He thought about telling his dad again, but the image of his dad's distracted face earlier that morning stopped him. What if his dad just brushed it off? What if he thought Junior was lying or overreacting? Junior turned onto his side, his chest heavy with the weight of his confusion. He felt trapped, like there was no one he could talk to. He didn't want to upset his dad or cause trouble, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. His mind flickered to school. Miss Anna always said that her students could talk to her about anything. But even the thought of telling her made his stomach twist with nerves. What if she told his dad? What if it made everything worse? Junior pulled the covers over his head, wishing the feeling would go away. He squeezed his eyes shut, hoping sleep would bring him some relief. But the questions kept swirling in his mind, and deep down, he knew he couldn't ignore them forever. Junior sat on the edge of the playground, watching his classmates laugh and chase each other. The sun shone brightly, but he couldn't feel its warmth. His legs swung idly as he stared at the ground, lost in thought. Every day, the uneasiness in his chest grew heavier. He tried to focus on math problems and reading assignments, but the memories of Rachel's actions kept intruding. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, yet he was too scared to say anything. Out of the corner of his eye, he spotted Miss Anna sitting under a tree, her notebook balanced on her lap. She always looked calm, like someone who understood everything. Junior liked her. She was kind and funny, and she told their class at the start of the year, "If you ever have a problem, big or small, my door is always open." Junior clenched his fist. Maybe he could talk to her. But what if she didn't believe him? Or worse, what if she told Rachel? He felt a wave of panic just thinking about it. His legs felt glued to the bench, but he finally forced himself to stand. Each step toward Miss Anna felt heavier than the last. "Miss Anna," he said softly, standing a few feet away. She looked up, her warm smile easing some of the tension in his chest. "Hi, Junior. What's up? You look like something's on your mind." Junior shifted his weight from one foot to the other, his hands twisting together nervously. Can I talk to you? Of course, she said, patting the space on the bench beside her. Come sit. Junior hesitated, glancing around the playground. The other kids were too busy playing to notice him, but he still felt exposed. Miss Anna noticed his nervousness. Would you feel better if we talked in my classroom? She asked gently. Junior nodded. In the quiet of the classroom, Junior perched on a chair, his hands gripping the edges of the seat. Miss Anna sat across from him, her kind eyes steady and patient. Take your time, she said. You can tell me anything, and I'll listen. Junior swallowed hard. It's about my stepmom, he began, his voice barely above a whisper. Miss Anna nodded encouragingly. She does things that make me feel weird, he continued, staring at the floor. Like, one time, she came into the bathroom when I was taking a bath, and she said she was helping, but it felt wrong. And yesterday, she took my new shirt and wore it, and she wouldn't give it back. His words stumbled out in a rush, each one feeling like a weight lifted off his chest. When he finally stopped, he looked up, afraid of what he might see in Miss Anna's face. Her smile was gone, replaced by a serious expression. Junior, thank you for telling me, she said, her voice calm but firm. I'm so sorry this has been happening to you. It's very important that you feel safe at home, and it's not okay for anyone to make you feel uncomfortable. Junior felt a lump rise in his throat. I didn't know who else to tell, he admitted. You did the right thing by coming to me, Miss Anna assured him. I'm going to help you, okay? But I need to talk to your dad about this. He needs to know what's going on so we can make sure you're safe. Junior's eyes widened. Will he be mad at me? I don't think so, Miss Anna said gently. Your dad loves you, and I'm sure he wants to make things better. But if you're scared, I'll be right here to help. Junior nodded slowly. For the first time in days, he felt a flicker of hope. That afternoon, Miss Anna made the call. Junior's dad sounded distracted at first, but as Miss Anna explained what Junior had told her, his tone shifted. He said that, his dad asked, his voice low. Yes, Miss Anna replied. And it's clear that he's feeling very uncomfortable. I think it's important to address this carefully. There was a long silence on the other end of the line before Junior's dad let out a heavy sigh. I didn't realize. I thought everything was fine. Sometimes kids don't tell us how they are feeling until it gets too much, Miss Anna said gently. But now that you know, it's important to talk to Junior and make sure he feels heard. It might also help to involve a counselor or someone who can guide the family through this. I'll talk to him, his dad promised. And I'll talk his stepmom too. This can't happen again. After hanging up, Miss Anna looked at the classroom door, her heart heavy but determined. Junior had taken a brave step today, and she was going to make sure he didn't have to face his fears alone. The living room felt different that evening. Junior sat on the carpet in his room, fiddling with a small toy car, though his focus wasn't on it. His ears were tuned to the murmurs coming from downstairs. His dad and Rachel were talking, but their voices were too low for him to make out the words. Then, suddenly, his father's voice rose, sharp and unmistakable. What were you thinking, Rachel? Junior froze. His chest tightened as the conversation became louder and clearer. I was trying to help him. Rachel's voice rang out, defensive and high-pitched. You're making it sound like I did something terrible. I love Junior, and I only want what's best for him. Bathing him. Wearing his clothes. Junior's dad shot back, disbelief evident in his tone. He's 8 years old, Rachel. You crossed a line, whether you realize it or not. Junior crept toward the door, his small hands trembling. He opened it just a crack, enough to hear better. I didn't cross any line, Rachel retorted. He's a child. He doesn't understand these things, and clearly, neither do you. I was just trying to bond with him, to make him feel cared for since you're always too busy. That's not what he said, Junior's dad countered, his voice quieter but no less firm. He said it made him uncomfortable. Do you know how hard it must have been for him to tell someone that? To tell his teacher because he felt like he couldn't talk to us. There was a pause, and Junior imagined his stepmom's expression, indignant, maybe, or even hurt. So now you're taking an 8-year-old's word over mine, Rachel said, her tone icy. This isn't about taking sides, his dad said. It's about making sure Junior feels safe and respected in his own home. Junior's heart pounded as he pressed himself against the doorframe. Part of him felt a flicker of relief, his dad believed him. But another part felt heavy with guilt. Was he causing trouble? In the living room, the tension was palpable. Junior's dad paced, running a hand through his hair. Rachel sat stiffly on the couch, her arms crossed. I never thought I'd have to explain this, he said, stopping to face her. But boundaries matter, Reki. Kids need space. They need to feel in control of their bodies and their belongings. I didn't mean to cross any boundaries, Rachel said, her voice quieter now. I thought I was being a good stepmom. He's always so quiet around me, and I wanted to connect with him. You don't connect with a child by ignoring their discomfort, he replied. Didn't you notice how he reacted? How he pulled away? Rachel's face hardened again. He didn't say anything. How was I supposed to know? That's the point. His voice rose, exasperated. He's a child. He might not know how to say it, but it's our job as adults to pay attention, to notice when something feels off. Rachel leaned back against the couch, her expression unreadable. So what now? She asked, her tone tinged with defiance. You're just going to assume I'm some kind of monster and let this tear our family apart. No one's calling you a monster, he said, his tone softening. But we need to fix this. For Junior's sake. Upstairs, Junior clutched his toy car tightly. The guilt gnawed at him, but so did the faint sense of validation. His dad believed him. Miss Anna believed him. He wasn't crazy for feeling the way he did. But as the conversation dragged on, doubt crept in. What if Rachel really didn't mean any harm? What if he'd misunderstood her? He shook his head, trying to push those thoughts away. The unease he'd felt during those moments with her was real, and it wasn't something he could ignore. Back in the living room, Junior's dad sat down, his shoulders slumping. I think we need help, he said finally. Rachel raised an eyebrow. Help? A counselor. Someone who can guide us through this, help us figure out where things went wrong and how to move forward. Rachel scoffed. You think we need therapy because an 8-year-old got upset? This isn't just about him, he said firmly. It's about us, about how we're handling things as a family. If you care about making this work, you'll agree to it. Rachel's jaw tightened. She looked away, her lips pressed into a thin line. Fine, she said after a long pause. If that's what you want. It's not just what I want, he said. It's what Junior needs. Junior lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling. The muffled voices downstairs had finally stopped, replaced by an uneasy silence. He felt a strange mix of emotions, relief, fear, guilt, and hope, all swirling together. He didn't know what would happen next, but for the first time, he felt like maybe, just maybe, things could get better. The therapy office was small but cozy, with soft chairs and warm lighting. Junior sat between his dad and stepmom, his small hands gripping his knees. He didn't know what to expect, but the kind smile of the counselor, a woman named Dr. Anna, helped put him at ease. "Thank you all for being here," Dr. Anna began, her tone gentle yet confident. "We are going to talk about some important things today, but first, I want to remind you that this is a safe space. Everyone here can share their thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment." Junior glanced at his dad, who gave him a reassuring nod. Dr. Anna turned to Junior first. "Why don't we start with you, Junior? Can you tell me a little about how you've been feeling at home lately?" Junior hesitated, his eyes darting to his stepmom, Rachel, who sat with her arms crossed. Sometimes I feel weird," he mumbled. Dr. Anna leaned forward slightly, her expression encouraging. "Can you tell me more about that? What makes you feel weird?" Junior looked down at his lap. "When Rachel does things like tries to help me with stuff I can do myself. Or wears my clothes." His voice trailed off, barely above a whisper. Rachel shifted in her seat, her face a mix of discomfort and defensiveness. "I was just trying to help," she said quickly, looking at Dr. Anna. "I didn't mean to make him uncomfortable. I thought I was being caring." Dr. Anna nodded. "Thank you for sharing that, Rachel. It's clear you care about Junior and want to connect with him. But sometimes, actions meant to be caring can feel different to the person receiving them. Junior, how do those actions make you feel?" Junior glanced at his dad before speaking. Like I don't have control," he admitted. "I don't like it." The session continued, with Dr. Anna guiding the conversation. She helped Rachel understand how her actions, even if well-intentioned, might have crossed boundaries that were important for Junior. "I didn't think about it that way," Rachel admitted after some reflection. "I thought I was just being a good stepmom. I didn't want him to feel like I didn't care." "Showing care is important," Dr. Anna agreed. "But part of showing care is also respecting boundaries. It's about listening to what Junior needs and making sure he feels safe and comfortable." Rachel sighed, her shoulders slumping. "I guess I wasn't listening as much as I should have." Junior's dad chimed in, his voice calm but firm. "I should have been paying more attention, too. I've been so focused on work that I didn't notice how Junior was feeling. That's on me." Dr. Anna smiled gently. "The fact that you're all here, willing to talk and reflect, is a big step forward. It shows that you care about each other and want to make things better." Over the next few weeks, the family continued attending therapy sessions. Each time, they learned more about how to communicate openly and set healthy boundaries. Rachel, though reluctant at first, began to change her behavior. She stopped trying to bathe Junior or wear his clothes, instead giving him the space he needed. One afternoon, Rachel approached Junior cautiously while he was drawing in his sketchbook. "Hey, Junior," she said softly. He looked up, unsure of what to expect. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," she said, sitting down a few feet away. "I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. I was just trying to be close to you, but I see now that I went about it the wrong way." Junior stared at her for a moment, then nodded slowly. "It's okay," he said quietly, though he wasn't sure he fully believed it yet. Meanwhile, Junior's dad made an effort to spend more quality time with him. They started playing board games together in the evenings, and on weekends, they went to the park or worked on small projects around the house. "How's school?" his dad asked one evening as they played checkers. "It's good," Junior replied, moving a piece on the board. "Anything on your mind?" Junior hesitated, then shook his head. "No, I'm okay." His dad smiled. "Well, if there ever is, you can always talk to me. I promise I'll listen." Junior felt a warmth in his chest. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Despite the positive changes, Junior remained cautious. He couldn't forget the strange, uncomfortable moments with Rachel, and he kept a close eye on her behavior. He didn't fully trust her yet, but he was starting to feel a little safer in his own home. One night, as he lay in bed, he thought about everything that had happened. It had been scary to speak up, but it had also been worth it. Things weren't perfect, but they were getting better, little by little. And for the first time in a long while, Junior drifted off to sleep feeling hopeful. The weeks that followed the therapy sessions brought a new sense of calm to the household. For the first time in a long time, Junior felt like his voice mattered. His dad had become more present, more engaged. He no longer buried himself in work, his evenings spent with Junior rather than endless phone calls or meetings. Together, they spent more time in the kitchen, making dinner or trying out new recipes. Their favorite was spaghetti. Junior had mastered stirring the sauce while his dad prepared the meatballs. It had become their tradition, a small but meaningful moment that bonded them even further. "Looks like we're getting better at this," his dad would joke as Junior stirred the sauce with exaggerated care, his small hand holding the spoon with a newfound sense of responsibility. Junior grinned. "We are pros now." It was a simple exchange, but it made Junior feel seen. For the first time in a long time, he wasn't just a kid in the background, he was a part of something. His dad listened when he spoke, and that made all the difference. Rachel, too, had changed. After the therapy sessions, she took a step back. No more hovering, no more intrusive gestures. She respected Junior's boundaries now, and though their relationship wasn't perfect, there was a sense of peace in the air. Rachel no longer tried to help in ways that made Junior uncomfortable. She started to find her own space within the household, respecting Junior's need for independence while also showing affection in ways that felt appropriate, like giving him a hug when he did something well or complimenting his drawings without overstepping. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress, and that was enough. One afternoon, Junior was sitting at the kitchen table, sketching in his notebook, when his stepmother entered with a smile. She'd been quieter recently, and Junior couldn't quite read her intentions, but he'd learned to be cautious. Still, there was something different about her today, something softer, more genuine. "Hey, Junior," she said, standing a few feet away, as if unsure of how to approach him. "I wanted to let you know that I'm really proud of how you've been handling everything lately." Junior blinked, unsure of how to respond. It wasn't like his stepmother to offer praise, not directly. It had always been in a more indirect, almost performative way in the past. This, though, felt different. "Thanks," Junior said, his voice tentative but appreciative. "It's been kind of weird, but I think it's getting better." Rachel smiled, though there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. "I know it's been hard. I wasn't trying to make you uncomfortable. I just wanted to connect, but I realize now that I wasn't going about it the right way." Junior looked down at his sketchbook, feeling an odd sense of closure in her words. It wasn't that everything was fixed, but for the first time, he felt that Rachel understood that she wasn't just doing things out of some misplaced sense of obligation. She had learned, and that gave him hope. "Maybe we can do something fun this weekend," Rachel continued, her voice lighter now. "Just the three of us. What do you think?" Junior thought for a moment. It wasn't the perfect solution, but it was a step forward. "I'd like that," he said finally, a small smile tugging at his lips. Over the next few days, Junior noticed even more subtle changes. His dad made a point of asking about his day, making sure to check in with him before heading to bed. "How was school? You tell me anything good today?" he'd ask, even if Junior had only a brief answer to offer. The effort mattered. Junior's confidence began to return, piece by piece. He no longer felt like he had to hide his discomfort or keep secrets. He knew that his dad would listen, that he had a safe space in him. One evening, as they sat on the couch watching a movie together, Junior felt a weight lift off his chest. The laughter from the TV was easy, not forced, and as he snuggled into the couch with his dad, he realized how much he'd missed these moments. He could be himself, without worrying about what might happen next. There was no tension, no fear. "Dad," Junior said softly, still watching the screen, though his thoughts were on something else. His dad replied, his attention divided between the movie and Junior. "I just wanted to say thanks," Junior said, looking at him. "For listening to me. And for being here." Junior's dad smiled and reached over to ruffle his hair. "Of course, kiddo. You don't ever have to thank me for that. I'm here for you, always." It wasn't the first time his dad had said something like that, but it felt different now. There was a deeper understanding between them, and it felt like it would only continue to grow. Even though things at home had improved, Junior still carried a little weariness in his heart. He wasn't sure if he could ever completely forget the uncomfortable moments with Rachel. The change in her behavior was genuine, but he wasn't ready to drop his guard completely. It wasn't about holding a grudge, it was about trust. And trust, he had learned, was something that took time to build. One afternoon, while they were all sitting around the dining table, Junior thought about everything that had happened. The moments of fear, the sleepless nights, the brave decision to speak up. And how, despite everything, he had ended up here, with his dad and stepmom in a better place. He realized something important: trust wasn't about waiting for perfection. It was about knowing that, even when things felt uncertain, there were people who would listen. And that made all the difference. Later that night, as Junior lay in bed, he reflected on everything he had learned. He knew that there might be bumps in the road ahead, but he was ready for them. He was stronger now, and most importantly, he knew that he could trust his instincts. He'd found the courage to speak up when something wasn't right, and he knew that, moving forward, he would never feel alone. With those thoughts in his mind, Junior drifted off to sleep, feeling more secure and confident than he had in a long time. He didn't know what the future would bring, but he knew that he was ready to face it, knowing that his voice mattered, and that there would always be someone willing to listen.